Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask you to please remain standing for a moment of silence for Ed Tierney Sr., brother-in-law to Marilyn Tierney, Mike Santos, father to Bethany Lamline, CHS teacher, and Thomas Flaherty, father of Michaela Warren, occupational therapist at the elementary school. Thank you. 17. To open the school committee meeting for Monday, October 17th, 2022. Can I have a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes from September 26th of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Do we have a student rep? No? CTA? Got this part. PTA?
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, guys.
So,
We had our first meeting at the first week in October. Sorry, I don't know the dates. Our next meeting is November 1st at 6:30 in, oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving around. I'm a mess tonight. Sorry about that. Our next meeting is Wednesday, November 2nd in the CS library. We had an interest for someone to join our board. We typically don't have that during the school year. She started helping us out at Old Home Day. And so we had a special election at our last meeting, and so we have a co-vice president. Her name is Samantha Quebeco, and she has a preschooler and a kindergartner or a first grader. I'm not 100% sure. But typically, anyone that's interested, we're not going to say no to. So we had enough, we had a quorum, so we voted her in. And we have had co-chairs in the past. It is in our bylaws, so we are following our bylaws. But it's just unusual that we would vote someone in the fall. We usually vote in the spring for the following year. Some of our upcoming events is we're going to have our gift card program in November and December this year. We're going to try something different this year. We're going to try ordering online and having it delivered to the home and not have a night pickup. There's always a big percentage of people that don't come that night, and then we're delivering it or making other arrangements, and it just gets tricky with the holidays. We are also going to do a bingo night in the spring. We're going to do an adult one and a kid one. I haven't talked to the administrators at the schools, but we're hoping that maybe we could do one with the elementary kids and maybe the 5th and 6th grade at the middle school, because 7th and 8th grade do like other things, so, but the 5th and 6th grade would be different, and it would be like, they would just win like little toys, like stuff from like Oriental Trading and stuff like that. It wouldn't be like the adult one where there would be baskets and stuff like that. And we are looking to host dances at CES and CMS. So at CES it would be like the snowball dance, and we would do the younger grades earlier in the night, and then of course we have to check with administration and do the proper paperwork within the town to get that. But we're hoping to do it on a Friday night so that staff would already be in the building and we wouldn't have to pay extra to have it like on a Saturday night. And but we would like to also do it again with the 5th and 6th graders at the middle school, because the 7th and 8th graders do have dances that is done within the school. And our target is to do it in December, but we're willing to work with administration. We don't know what is happening in the schools, if if there's any plays or anything like that, we're going to try to work around that. So if we don't make it for December, we'll do it probably in January or February, depending on whatever is happening in the schools. We don't want to make it harder for everybody in the school. We really would just like to have like a fun time with everyone. And that's it for PTA.
Moving on.
So then for CPAC, our next meeting is November 1st in the CS Library. We're going to have CMS teacher Jessica Kennedy come and talk about a brief overview on executive functioning. I'm lucky I get to see Jessica weekly at CMS with a mentoring group that is there for girls on Tuesday afternoons, and she's pretty amazing. She really does an amazing job with executive functioning, which is now a new class at CMS. And she just has a really nice way of redirecting kids that they don't even realize that they're being redirected. And she is a wealth of knowledge about executive functioning. We are also still working on breaking down the IEP. And at our next meeting during our parent support group, we are going to work on organizing the binder that we started in the spring for our families. And that will be done during our parent support time. And if they have questions while someone is there from special ed, they can ask their questions to special ed. But we really want to try to keep it kind of condensed because we want to have time for them to spread out their stuff and figure out how they're going to keep things organized and stuff. That was one of the things that came up at our last meeting. And we're going to continue to look at the different parts of the IEP and then have the answers, the question and answers for the parents. And that is it. Thank
very
you.
much.
Meyer.
All right, so we have a couple staffing updates. We did have a resignation. Samantha Lake, a grade 1 teacher, did resign. We wish her well. And Whitney Compton, a middle school IA, has also resigned. We have hired 2 new recent ABA, an ABA IA and another IA, Lauren Jimenez and Lisa Losa, and new grade 1 teacher, Sarah Fagan. So, and in addition to that, we actually just hired 2 more IAs last Friday who will be starting with us probably this week. And I think once those 2 start, we'll be fully staffed at the elementary school. So I think we finally caught up with it. One of the things I know that we have found is, for a long time we have been typically going to School Spring for most of our postings. And where we ended up finding a lot of our instructional assistants was actually we started advertising more through Indeed, and we were getting hitting a different candidate pool. So that was very helpful once we made that switch. From the strategic plan, we have the academic achievement one. So the goals on these were pretty straightforward. We wanted to develop and implement best practices for instruction to support all learners. And I think, obviously you heard a lot of different presentations tonight that we're trying to do a lot of those things. It's also something that we're anticipating. We just wrote the grant for the elementary school, because even though the elementary school is most likely no longer in need of assistance, we still qualified for the grant for this year. So because you were identified last year, you still get that grant. And our proposal for that was to actually contract with our PD provider to create an instructional handbook, because our goal is to provide more sustainability as sort of some of those supports that we've had the last couple of years sort of go away. We want to make sure that all the new practices and everything are become more institutionalized. And we'll see how that process goes, and then probably try to follow a similar manner as we go through. Align and enhance curriculum with the Massachusetts curriculum frameworks. Like you heard, we've adopted into literature for the secondary English, and open up resources for secondary math. Those are both high-quality curriculum that are aligned to the Massachusetts framework. So I think, over the last few years since this plan was written, I mean, we've essentially completely overhauled our math and ELA curriculum K to 12, really pre-K to 12. So, and now we have everything that all the programs that we'd be using or the curriculum we'd be using are identified as high-quality curriculum. And then demonstrating student growth on standardized tests, increasing enrollment in advanced coursework, and obviously you guys just heard the presentation during the tri-council meeting about that, and you know, we haven't necessarily demonstrated, we've demonstrated growth, I believe. That's that difference a little bit between growth and achievement, and also we definitely have seen an increase in enrollment in the advanced coursework. So I think we've, you know, when you figure these are goals that were written 5 years ago, I think we've been making progress in a lot of them, and trying to make sure that we're increasing those opportunities. The next sheet in here is this is the same, this was 2 slides from the presentation that you saw earlier, and this is the MCAS percentiles. So just a brief overview. This year the state didn't really give a comprehensive accountability system. What they did is they sort of called it accountability light. And really what they did is they just they took your MCAS scores and just gave you a percentile based on where your MCAS scores were compared to other schools of your configuration in the state. And so we have this summarizes those changes. It tells you what our percentile was. The parentheses shows the change. And then just for reference, the one below is the 2019. That's what it's being referenced to for the changes. The big highlights on there, I think, are that high needs and white subgroups for Clinton Elementary School back in 2019 were at the 5th percentile. So the main reason why the state's even doing an accountability system this year is because at the federal level you have to have some way to identify those schools that are at the 5th percentile or lower, and you have to offer them support. So even though we weren't overall the 5th percentile, because we had subgroups at the 5th percentile, we were identified or Clinton Elementary School, I guess, was identified as being in need of support. And now if you look, this is really the first time so since we've been on in 2019, there's been no way to really compare the data. We didn't have MCAS, then we had sort of the half MCAS. So this is the first opportunity for us to really exit from that status. And if you look, we saw a significant increase in our white student population from the percentile going from 5th to the 20th, and for the high needs going from 5th to 12th. Like I said, I don't have anything official from the state yet, but all my conversations indicate that we should be losing any type of designation moving forward at the elementary school. So, and I just wanted to rehash a little bit of that for this audience, for this meeting, but I know that we just went through a lot of that at the Tri-Council. So, first quarter financial update. So there's a first quarter financial update in here. What we didn't put in here yet are the encumbrances. So what you can see in here right now is basically what we've spent in the first quarter and what our balance remaining is. As we look through it, there's really nothing that we were significantly concerned with at this point as far as being tremendously overspent. Our goal is for the second quarter update to actually have everything sort of encumbered out for the year. I think part of the challenge is, as we just mentioned, we're just still hiring some staff. I think now that we're closer to fully staffed, as we make those encumbrances, it's going to be a little bit easier, and then we'll be able to get a better sense of, you know, where we are in terms of the expenditures. It can be a little bit tricky when you look at some of these accounts if you're looking at percentages. Just keep in mind that our staff that work 12 months get paid on a July 1st to June 30th year. So really, if it's an account that has 12-month employees in it, it should be about 25% expended, right? But if you look at the teachers don't get paid. the teacher's summer pay that they get is really, it's always encumbered from the previous fiscal year. So their first paycheck isn't until like the first pay in September, last pay in August, and then they're going to get 22 pays this year, and then there's 4 more pays for the summer that we encumber. So they haven't had nearly as many pays. So when you look at it, it's not as straightforward as like, oh, it's first quarter, you should be at 25%. But we are monitoring those, and we'll figure those out. We do have, we have some estimates of obviously the encumbrances on some different sheets that we're not worried about. Any questions on the budget at this time? So we'll continue to get more information for you and refine it. I think the Q2 one will have all the encumbrances in it when we get there, and that'll give us a much better snapshot. I think we'll be much more stable in terms of our staffing by then.
The only thing I did notice on the, there was a staff reimbursement for tuition reimbursement. I know we sign bills regularly for tuition reimbursement, but it didn't look like any of that account was expended at all so far this year.
For tuition reimbursement on this one, it's possible it hasn't been. There's a couple different reasons. One is some of those could have been, some of the ones we've approved, if they were on an encumbered warrant, that means they were actually from like a class they took last fiscal year.
Oh, that could be, okay.
The other one is we also pay we also have some tuition reimbursement money in our Title II grant, so some of it could have been charged to a grant already. So there's a couple of different things for that. And it's possible that, like the ones that hit this warrant just haven't made this sheet yet,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
All right. There is a letter in here regarding the Determination of Needs grant. So if you remember a few years ago, we applied for $150,000 grant through UMass Memorial Health Alliance Clinton Hospital through their Determination of Needs Fund. We were awarded that grant. We didn't quite I think it was just the logistics of the grant. We didn't know at the time. They gave us 2 years of it, so we got $100,000 from them, and then we had to kind of reapply to show our progress to get sort of that third year of funding. So we went through that process towards the end of last school year. So we received official notification on September 29th that we have got that third year of funding for the $50,000. And if you remember, primarily this funding is how we started the Family Outreach Center. And so future meetings. So I know, obviously, Mr. Bates isn't here tonight. He had a conflict regarding some work obligations that he had. It looks like he has some more coming up. It looks like and it's going to cause some conflicts probably on the 28th of November, the 12th of December. And I thought there might have been one other one that it was, but there's a couple meetings where there could be some conflicts. So we're looking at different options for those, or possibly maybe moving some of those meetings to Tuesdays or something along that lines. I think, we don't necessarily have to take action on that tonight, right now. I think the November 7th is our next meeting, and I know that Mr. Bates will be back for that meeting. In the meantime, if you want, what we could do is Kelly and I could put together more of a concrete proposal on days that we'd like to that might work for the committee, so that we can say, because we want to make sure, like, if we're just going to say, okay, we're going to take 2 meetings and move them to Tuesday, that we're not double booking something or someone else has something going on. So we might try to look to move probably at least the one on the 28th and the 12th. I don't know if he has any beyond that or not. And then we will go from there. So I guess, Mr. Chair, is that okay? We just kind of...
Just wait till the 7th. And then
Yeah.
I'll give everybody a chance. Like I said, if you send that out, just kind of look at, because I know we talked about the building committee possibly being on one of those
Right,
days.
the building committee might be on the 29th, right.
I don't know everybody else's. Yeah, if we can wait till the 7th, that'd be
So we'll just so maybe between now and the 7th, because we got a few weeks in there, it's like a 3-week stretch, I think, so we'll try to get some stuff together so that it's actually something that you guys can just vote to approve the changes to.
perfect.
Okay? All right. Oh, yeah, so I just had the calendar is in here, just so you could see it, so we can look at that. And then I think that's all I really have for my report. We already talked for an hour, so you heard my big story earlier. At least I fed you for that one.
Thank you. It was a very nice meeting.
You can thank our food service department. I need to give them credit, and our cafeteria ladies that came back to serve the food to us, which was
I always say, when
appreciated.
I don't cook it and I don't have to do the dishes, it's delicious.
Anything from curriculum?
Not this time. I don't think we have.
Not from safety, we haven't met.
Yeah, I think we're
Probably
just
due
to
for a meeting,
policies.
no?
Huh?
Safety, we do for a meeting or no?
Probably, we're still, remember for safety, we've been working on the schools have been going through, reminding the students
That's
and their
right.
faculty of the
Yeah.
ALICE training. Probably once we have the ALICE drill, we'll have it. Yep.
Yep, that's good.
You guys just met
We haven't met yet.
2 weeks ago, right?
So policy, we have a bunch of policies, yeah.
There we go.
So all of those ones on the top bullet are, they're ones would be for a second reading and adoption that were in your packet last week, or last meeting. And then there's policies with revisions. So there's 3 policies that we put in here that have a revised copy. Those ones were basically, since we met as a policy committee till now, the MASC came up with some minor revisions, so we wanted to incorporate those instead of basically approving a policy that was already going to be obsolete.
So would the top ones be for the second reading, and then those last 3, those would be for, now would be a first reading, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, technically, I think you could probably approve them with revisions because they're so
Okay.
minor,
All
yeah.
right, so you could do all of them, so I'm not reading all this.
Do you want 2 separate motions, Mr. Chair, or do you want one motion for all of them?
I think we can do one, that's why I was just asking, if the bottom ones are just small revision, I think we can do them, yeah, just all, if you want to read them off, you don't
No,
have to.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the policies as listed here in the agenda, both for second reading and the ones that are revised.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion on any of them? All in favor?
All right.
Facilities, I got nothing.
I noticed they're doing the roof over there. They worked all weekend, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
Project's
they're
flying along.
cruising, yeah. So it's good.
It's great.
We have nothing in negotiations, right?
No, thank God.
No, we're good. And under old business. New business? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Want to pause a minute, see if you have anything?
No, this is a new round.
Nothing under old business for you?
Did you ask for a public comment?
No, I didn't. Okay, you know what? Thank you. I did skip it, and I apologize. Is anybody here for public comment? All right, no. Thank you. No, I did forgot. I appreciate it.
Just wanted to.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Chair Bailey.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
Dropping the puck in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Hey, they're always short after we have the tri-council, because you just heard us talk for an hour.
You have to do all that, all right.
I asked him twice.
I just was in the last minute.
Cough, and now every time you cough, you just feel so horrible, like, it's just a cold, you know?
And that has a bunch that she's paying out in the next one.
You know, it's funny, because I know I've signed tuition reimbursement, but like he said, it might have come out of a grant, or it could have been, from last year, accrued from last year, or whatever, so, yeah, that's fine. Oh, all right, okay. I have to watch out for those, because I'm not supposed to sign anything that has my son's name on it. But usually he'll give me the heads up, and I asked him, tell me if you put in a